Alright, welcome back to my Let's Play of Lamplight City where we left off. We finished talking to the wife. Full disclaimer, I have played this part already. I have played a solid 20 minutes into this episode and then my power flickered on and off. I guess just flickered would have been enough. But basically, yeah, I lost all that work. And yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I believe we've gone through the bedroom already. Yes, because we found evidence. We talked to her. We gotta go here and talk to him. So, I mean, it sucks because I usually play this going in blind with any of my Let's Plays. So the fact I know what to do from here to said point, it sucks. But anyway, I'll still go through everything as normal. And then when we get to where I was, you know, we'll just continue.
Shall we continue our conversation, Mr. Harris?
Yes, of course.
Now that your wife is out of earshot, tell me about the kidnapping, and what these betting stubs have to do with it.
Right. As I said before, it had already happened when I got home. I had just come from spending the evening at the meadows.
I see. I take it your wife isn't impressed by your hobby?
I promised her weeks ago that I would stop going, but I've had such a good streak lately. The last thing I wanted was to upset her further, yet it would be foolish of me to just give up on something so promising.
Can you think of anyone who might want to do you harm by taking your son?
Several, I'm afraid.
Go on.
I haven't exactly had the best of luck, Mr. Fordham. That's why this latest streak was so important to me. The truth is, I've gambled away most of my money. I've had to take out several loans so Miriam doesn't get suspicious. If she ever found out, it would be over. I can't lose her, Mr. Fordham. I just can't.
Where have I heard this before? You know, things would be so much easier if people just talked to each other.
I've tried doing business above board, but lately I've had to seek other resources.
What do you mean?
I was forced to visit a lending office. The owner was a rather shady Sambo, but I figured he'd be easier to deal with than the usual sheenies that run those type of places.
Can you believe this guy? Maybe we should just leave the kid be. He'd probably be better raised by wolves.
Who was the owner?
Mr. LeFay. I didn't bother to get his first name. His business is an abattoir row in Chumley. Horrid place, but I was desperate.
You think this Mr. LeFay may have taken your son as collateral?
Let's just say there isn't much those type of people wouldn't do to put a crown in their pocket.
Those are all the questions I had for now.
All right. If you don't mind, Mr. Fordham, I'm going back to the living room. I don't want Miriam getting suspicious.
Alright, so with that out of the way, we basically have to leave. We're gonna go talk to the nanny now. Or, yeah, nanny maid.
Come in!
Good day to you, ma'am. I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator. I'm looking into the kidnapping of Charles Harris. Are you Mrs. Davis?
I am. Oh, bless the spirits. They've sent someone to help at last.
Alright, so we're here. Let's look at everything. I've already looked through this, but you know. Yeah, I'm gonna be a broken record about that. So yeah, we'll start here, we'll look at everything, talk to her, and then mosey on out of here.
Another Harris hand-me-down, no doubt. You'd think they would have washed it first. Seems like that boiler's the only thing in here that's less than 10 years old. My mother had a pewter teapot as well. Always made the tea taste funny. The Harris family doesn't seem to hold the comfort of their servants in very high regard. I think a bed of nails would be an improvement. A boy taking a nap under a tree while his dog runs around in the distance. That brings back some good memories. These are all books on spiritualism and the occult. Mrs. Davis doesn't seem to have many other hobbies. Pretty distinguished-looking gentleman. Handsome. Good fashion sense. Wonder who he is. Her Majesty Queen Jessica. This was clearly painted a long time ago. Painting of a misty forest with a cemetery in the background. Cheery stuff. Painting of a tower on a Scottish moor. I wish I'd been able to make it over there. This looks like a mourning portrait of a young woman, probably a relative of Mrs. Davis. It's a spirit reaching out to a very frightened man, possibly the fakest looking photo I've ever seen. That chest is full of undressed dolls? What the hell is wrong with this old bat?
Alright, so that's everything there. So let's talk with her, and of course,
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
from the top.
Tell me about the kidnapping of Charles Harris.
Oh dear, may the spirits forgive me. I feel so awful. Charlie was my responsibility, and I failed.
Mrs. Davis, that is beside the point. What's important now is finding him and bringing him home. To do that, I need your full cooperation.
Oh, you're right, Mr. Fordham. I'm sorry. I just need to collect my thoughts, get the negative vibrations out of my mind. Now, what specifically would you like to know?
What time did the kidnapping occur?
I'm not entirely sure. I know I was in the nursery having a cup of tea about 8:30. I remember feeling very drowsy. I must have passed out then because the next thing I knew, I was being woken by Mrs. Harris. To think, whoever took Charlie did it while I was in the room. Oh, may the spirits grant me peace.
Do you happen to take any sort of sleep medications or soporifics?
Oh, dear me, no. Those types of drugs cloud the mind and make it impossible to tune into the ether.
You say that as though it were a bad thing.
I beg your pardon?
Apologies, I spoke out of turn. Can you think of anyone who would have wanted to take the child?
Well, I'm not one to gossip, but I am quite sensitive to the energy and vibrations that people give off. I get the impression that Mr. and Mrs. Harris aren't very happy in their marriage.
Ah, come on, anyone could have picked up on that. Anyone except you, that is.
Mr. Harris likes to stay out late and not take his wife with him. I can't remember the last time they went out together. I don't know what he gets up to, but it's possible he may have made some enemies.
Can you think of any reason why someone would want to kidnap Charles?
It might have been for money, but last I heard, there was no demand for a ransom. I honestly don't know why this happened, Mr. Fordham. I just hope you find the poor child. He must be scared to death.
I found this piece of torn fabric in the nursery. Does it look familiar to you?
No, it doesn't. I'm sorry.
I found this button in the baby's crib. Do you recognize it?
Why, yes. That's one of Barney's eyes.
Barney.
Charlie's stuffed bear. It's his favorite toy, a gift from my friend Linda.
I didn't find a stuffed bear in the nursery.
Then whoever took the baby must have taken Barney as well. Oh, at least the poor thing has something to comfort him. Bless the spirits.
Who is Linda?
Mrs. Linda Walker. She's a good friend of mine. As I said, she gave me Barney as a gift for Charlie.
Can you tell me anything else about her?
Oh, she's a lovely girl, very much in tune with her spiritual nature. I greatly enjoy my conversations with her.
When was the last time you saw her?
Oh, I don't remember. No, wait. It was at the last Spectre Society meeting on the 19th. That's right.
What is the Spectre Society?
It's a club for spiritualists and amateur investigators of the paranormal. We meet twice a month to socialize and discuss our findings.
I see. Sounds fascinating.
Oh, I don't expect you to share my beliefs, Mr. Fordham.
Oh, I have a bit more experience than you'd think with regards to the spirit world.
You can say that again.
Where exactly do these meetings take place?
At a private residence in Gascon.
May I have the address?
Why, yes, it's 325 Rue Jameau. Are you going to seek spiritual guidance to find Charlie?
Perhaps. You never know what might be worth looking into. That's a lovely portrait. Who is it of?
That is my late husband, Jonathan. He used to attend meetings of the Spectre Society with me, bless him. I tried to get him to be more in tune with the other side, but I think he was just humoring me. He was a good man. Everyone at the society cared for him very much.
Do you have Linda Walker's address?
No, I don't. I never visited her home. I get the feeling she doesn't like having visitors or being home very much. She prefers to meet people elsewhere. I was the same way after my husband died. It was embarrassing for my friends to see me living so differently. But I feel it's not just a matter of pride for dear Linda. I think there are lots of bad memories associated with where she lives. I try to stay away from places like that. They leave a mark on the soul, you know.
I couldn't help but notice that chest full of dolls in the corner.
Oh, that. Oh, I know it must look a bit strange, but I pick up old and broken dolls so they can be repaired and donated to orphanages. It's my way of giving back to the community and helping poor children who have nothing to play with.
Well, what a kind soul. I wish she would find less creepy ways to express her altruism.
How long have you worked as a nanny?
Only a few years. I never had to work when I was married. My husband had a lot of money. Unfortunately, he was in great debt. And after the spirits took him back to the ether, I wasn't left with much. So I began working as a nanny to make ends meet. But I consider taking care of children a reward in its own right.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Alright, so we can click on two things and change the dialogue. The portrait,
The late Mr. Davis. I wonder if he ever smiled.
and then the chest full of creepy dolls.
I suppose it's for a good cause, but that doesn't make it any less disturbing.
And then we're basically done here, so we're gonna go to the other place I went to.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Which was the home, because I figured I'd start here and talk to, his wife, and then bounce here, and then, bounce here, that kind of bouncing. We're doing the whole full circle shenanigans.
I'm here.
Seeing you come home always puts a smile on my face.
Addie?
What do you need, dear?
So as usual, start from the top.
You weren't kidding about business picking up. You're averaging what, about 3 appointments per day?
More like 5. I told you, debutante ball season's busy.
Doesn't it get tiresome?
Not really. You'd be surprised at the sort of gossip I hear from my clients. I don't know what it is, but they just open up to me and tell me all kinds of personal things. You sure you don't want me to give you a trim?
I'm fine for now, dear. Thank you. I'd forgotten how good you are at écarté. You absolutely destroyed me the other night.
As I recall, you used to hold your own pretty well.
We should have another match soon. That way I can hone my skills.
Yes, we should. As long as you can concentrate, I'm sure you'll get as good as you used to be.
Addie, did you ever work with or meet a musician in Gascon named Roland?
Roland?
Yes, a piano player.
Oh, of course. That's gotta be Roland Devereaux. Yes, I know him. I'd just as soon never hear the name again, if I'm being honest.
That bad, huh?
He's just an arrogant little twerp, completely full of himself, thinks he's God's gift to music. He really isn't very good. Misses notes like you wouldn't believe. Used to throw me off the few times I sang with him.
Well, he's a person of interest in my current case. Any idea where I can find him?
Last I heard, he was playing a regular gig at the Crimson Cat, but that was a few years ago. If he's not still there, they might know where he went.
Thanks, dear. That's incredibly helpful.
My pleasure.
I can't believe the nerve of that narrow-minded old cow.
Who, Mrs. Delacroix? She's actually one of my nicest clients.
I don't know how you can tolerate her. If I were you, I'd strike her off my list.
If I did that for every one of my clients who thought the same as her, I'd be out of a job. That's just the way it is.
Maybe so, but it doesn't make it any less infuriating. Have you ever heard of a group called the Spectre Society?
I think I had a client once who mentioned it. They're some kind of spiritualist group, right?
So it would seem.
I don't really know anything else about them, sorry.
How are things going with you?
I'm a bit worried about some rumors I've been hearing.
Oh?
They're saying it won't be long before automated hairdressing devices are available to the public. Once that happens, it's going to be tough for me to keep getting jobs.
Automated hairdressing devices? How would those even work? Do they read your mind?
Doubtful. More than likely, they'll have some kind of settings or just give everyone the same type of hairstyle.
I wouldn't worry too much, Addie. You're the best hairdresser in town. I doubt people will place their trust in some contraption over you.
You underestimate my clientele, Miles. They're mostly all rich socialites whose hobbies are buying the most expensive and modern things just to outdo their peers. They'll be sending their servants to line up for days before the things are released.
Perhaps, but they'll come running back to you once the machines stop working. You'll see.
I certainly hope so.
I'll let you get back to your book.
Alright, and with that, we're gonna leave, and then we're gonna head to the Spiritual Society, and that's basically...
Time for me to get some things done.
Goodbye, dear. Love you.
Love you too.
There we go. Basically where my power went out for like 2 seconds. So, Spectre Society, let's go. Let's go look at the windows and then the door.
Too dark to tell what's inside. They must enjoy the somber atmosphere.
And let's go.
Yes? May I help you?
I'm Miles Fordham. I wanted to ask you a few questions. I'm interested in joining the Spectre Society. Wrong house, never mind. I was going to go with the top question, and then the power, turned on and off. But anywho, top question, let's go.
Hello, ma'am. My name's Miles Fordham, and I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Are you with the police?
No, I'm a private investigator.
I'm terribly sorry, darling, but I simply don't have the time right now. Perhaps if you come back next week, I'll be able to answer your questions then.
Okay, I guess we'll do the interest in joining the Spectre Society. I guess I was wrong.
This is the Spectre Society, right? I'm interested in joining.
Ah, yes it is. Welcome, darling. Our membership process is a bit different to most social clubs. We require a sponsor.
Sounds simple enough.
Well, you see, we ask that sponsors be people who have passed on into the spirit world. Once you name your sponsor, I will attempt communication beyond the ether. When they answer, you will be judged and considered for membership.
We do have a sponsor. But question, what are we looking for in a sponsor? I've got a sponsor, and then you're joking. What do you look for in a sponsor? Let's humor her.
What are you looking for in a sponsor?
A willingness to communicate from beyond the ether. Open-mindedness, a desire for truth. In other words, all the qualities of a member of the Spectre Society. Actually, we've had former members who have passed on act as sponsors before.
I've got a sponsor.
Excellent. What is the name of your sponsor, darling?
Bill! It's totally Bill. Ooh, but Jonathan would be a good one. Let's go Bill. Let's see how this goes.
Bill Legere is my sponsor.
Seriously, Fordham? I thought you knew better than that.
Bill Legere. Very well, I will attempt to communicate with him.
She can do this all day. It's not gonna work.
I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble communicating. Perhaps you can come back and try again later?
See? Told you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay, I have to do the other one.
Oh, hello again. How may I help you?
I'd like to name a new sponsor.
Yes, of course. Who is your new sponsor?
Make of a name, Jonathan Davis. It's totally Jonathan Davis.
Jonathan Davis is my sponsor.
You knew Jonathan? He was such a kind man. Yes, I can feel his presence, and it speaks positively of you. Please, come in, Mr. Fordham. I am Angela Maxwell, the founder of the Spectre Society. Welcome. May I offer you some refreshments? Some water or tea, perhaps?
You're very kind, but I'm afraid I must decline right now.
Well, please let me know if you change your mind.
Would you look at this place? It's like a candy store for psychics.
I like to look at the painting of the twins. It does not remind me of The Shining. Totally doesn't remind me of The Shining. Nope, totally doesn't.
Those are some creepy twin girls. I could see a passing resemblance to Miss Maxwell, actually. There's quite a few members in this group.
Oh, Angela Maxwell, Monica. Oh, look at the different fonts. Fantastic. Sophia Shaw. I actually recognize some of these fonts for like graphic designing and, that kind of stuff. Anywho, Randall, Edward, Cynthia. Angela, the meeting was wonderful. Cynthia, anyone interested in a used spirit board, please let me know. Looking forward to having you over at the mansion next week. Come around 8 p.m. and you can meet Charlie. Hello. Renetta? Please have the spirits. Interesting. Okay. Tarot cards. Okay, we got a lot to look at. Let's start.
I think I've seen one of these before. What does it do?
It's a spirit board. We use it to contact spirits, and they in turn spell out a message with the letters on the board.
Well, I've got a message from Miss Maxwell if she ever tries to use a spirit board around me. Ooh, spooky. That ghost between the two people almost manages to look convincing. That's probably the storage case for the spirit board.
What a fascinating device. Exactly what does it do?
That is an etherometer. It's designed to pick up vibrations from the ether and translate messages from the spirits.
Must be for the more traditionalist members. A great man once said to me, "Bill, you aren't going to get very far in life just staring at balls." He's dead now. But then again, so am I.
Oh, that's great. Alright, the bookcase. Oh, members are free to borrow books as long as you check with me first.
It's nice of Miss Maxwell to let people borrow her books, even if they are all just a bunch of nonsense. And coming from me, that's really saying something.
Secrets of astral projection, metapsychosis, the art of the seance, terrors of the deep, the giant squid, voodoo and new berger, medium, gateway to spirit realm, what lies beyond the veil, the mysterious, the spontaneous combustion was totally, mitochondria, guys. It's totally mitochondria. Jeez. Secrets of the tarot, secret spirits in the ether. I feel like I don't know what book to take now. We'll have to come back and see which one we need to grab.
The plaque says Leonora Pattinson, seer. She looks like someone I would not want to fool around with. I never much cared for all that mystic stuff. Why should your life be dictated by a bunch of cards?
Okay, let's talk to her and then I guess we'll boogie on out of here.
Could I ask you about some things, Miss Maxwell?
Certainly, darling.
Alright, from the top.
What can you tell me about the Spectre Society?
Where to begin? I formed this club 2 years ago, right after I moved to New Britannia. During our meetings, we discuss our experiences with paranormal phenomena and organize investigations.
What sort of investigations?
We look into places all around the city which have been reported as haunted. New Britannia is teeming with the spirits of those killed during the French and British takeovers of the city. Not only that, but there is a prevalence of mystic religious practices here in Gascon, brought over by immigrants from the Antilles.
Fascinating.
There are plenty of books on the subject over there in the bookcase, if you're interested in learning more.
Do you know anything about the kidnapping of Charles Harris?
I'm afraid I haven't heard anything about any kidnappings, darling. If you wish, I can commune with the spirits and see if I can help locate your missing person.
That won't be necessary, Miss Maxwell, though I appreciate the offer. I spoke with Henrietta Davis, and she mentioned one of your other members, Linda Walker. Can you tell me anything about her?
Ah, Linda. Poor dear. Of all our members, she is the one I feel for the most.
Why is that?
She's had a tragic life, but I believe the Spectre Society has helped her greatly. Not only has she made a good friend in Henrietta, she's also dealt with her grief in a positive way. She has devoured my collection of books, educated herself on many subjects. I would say she's become an expert on clairvoyance and metempsychosis. It's always nice to know that the club can help those who have suffered.
Do you see her often?
Yes, she comes by about once or twice a week.
What can you tell me about Linda and Henrietta's friendship?
It's so lovely to see them together at the meetings. They're practically inseparable. It's quite sweet. They often leave messages for each other in the guest book. When Linda found out that Henrietta was taking care of an infant, she even gave her a toy bear for the child. I remember Linda lighting up with excitement when she asked about him. She really loves children. It's such a terrible shame about... But please, let's discuss something more pleasant, shall we, darling?
Oh no. Hopefully it's not that kind of kidnapping. Hopefully it's not her, because, no. Please no.
I'm sorry, what was it you said? Madam Psy, what?
Metempsychosis, darling. It's a philosophical term which comes from ancient Greece. It refers to the transmigration of the soul after death.
Is that anything like reincarnation?
Essentially, yes. There's a book on the subject over in the bookcase, which can tell you far more than I possibly could.
What's this tragic story about Linda you mentioned?
Oh, dear. I probably shouldn't say.
I think you most definitely should. Knowing more about Linda could help me find a missing child. You afraid of the spirits are going to tell on you? Middle one. We're really driving the point home of we need to find the missing child.
Miss Maxwell, I'm going to be frank. I'm investigating a kidnapping, and Mrs. Walker is a person of interest. I need to know as much about her as possible to help me solve this case. Do I make myself clear?
Well, if it will help, Linda was married to a man named Thomas. Together, they had a son named Alexander. Thomas revealed himself to be a terribly cruel man. When he gave himself over to the drink, he would fly into rages and beat both Linda and the boy. One day, she came home to find both her son and husband dead.
My God, what happened?
The police ruled it a murder-suicide. Poisoning, apparently. Linda has been trying to make contact with Alexander's spirit for the past year or so, but has had no luck. It really is a terrible tragedy.
Let's continue.
Do you know Linda Walker's address?
I'm afraid not, darling. Linda has always been somewhat private, and that's not something I consider to be crucial information.
Do you know any way I can find her?
You could always come back for our next meeting. It will be the first Thursday of next month.
By then, we'll have completely lost track of Charles. There has to be another way of finding Linda.
What made you decide to start up this club?
I began communing with the spirits at a very early age. My twin sister, Rachel, died after falling into an icy pond when we were 8 years old.
I'm very sorry, Miss Maxwell.
Oh, I appreciate your sympathy, darling, but don't feel too bad. Rachel began speaking to me shortly after that. She has served as my spirit guide ever since.
Spirit guide? You mean you still speak with her?
Oh, yes. Every day. In fact, I was just speaking with her before you arrived. As I grew older, I realized there were others in the world who were also able to communicate with spirits, and those who had an interest in what lies beyond the ether. And so, once I moved to New Britannia, I decided to start up this club so we could gather and share our experiences.
Do you suppose she can hear what I'm saying? Hey, Angela, try a bit less eyeshadow, would you? You look like a purple raccoon. Nothing. Clearly a fraud. Ah, well.
I mean, he's not wrong.
I was wondering,
Yes?
when you communicate with the spirits, are you able to stop?
If I wish them to leave me, yes. I bid them farewell, and they usually depart back into the ether.
What about the more persistent ones?
You do remember I'm right here, don't you?
Well, just between you and me. Those spirits are best dealt with by having the other kind of spirits. Quiets them right down.
I prefer soporific myself.
Oh? You hear the voices of the spirits as well, Mr. Fordham. But of course, now the reason for your visit to the Spectre Society is obvious. Do you see? All our paths eventually become clear. I'm glad yours has brought you here.
Oh, wonderful. Now she started rhyming. Don't get any funny ideas about telling her about me. She may be a lunatic, but that's no reason to expose yourself as one too.
Talbot, no, we'll just wrap it up here. Yeah, Bill makes a good point. We'll just do that for now. If I have to come back and bring it up, I'll bring it up, but we'll end it here.
Thank you for the information. It was very enlightening.
It was my pleasure, darling.
Because, yeah.
I'll be going now.
May the spirits guide you to that which you seek.
So the biggest thing is trying to find out where Linda is. I feel like if I go to the coffee shop, I could maybe talk to Upton. Do I go with the cat? Do I go here, or do I go back to you? Let's quickly go back here. I need to poke her about
Hello again, Mr. Fordham.
the guest book, because I believe
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Yeah, visit with Linda. There it is.
Mrs. Davis, have you ever had Linda visit you at the Harris Manor?
Oh, no, of course not.
Then would you care to explain your note to her in the Spectre Society guest book?
Please, Mr. Fordham, I didn't mean to lie to you. It's just that it gets so lonely by myself in the house at night. So every now and then, I invite Linda to come over for tea and some company.
I see. And when was the last time this happened?
2 nights ago? Please don't tell Mr. and Mrs. Harris, Mr. Fordham. If they found out what I was doing, they'd have me dismissed without a reference.
I won't, but I'd very much like to speak with Mrs. Walker. Do you have any idea where I can find her?
All I know is that she works as a seamstress at a shop in Lyon, but I don't know the name. I'm sorry, I can't be of any more help than that.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I feel like that's gonna be an Upton question, or it's tied into the...
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
God damn it. Or it's tied into the SS thing we got. Oh, it's not even on here yet. Okay, we need the exact location. Well, let's go to the Crimson Cat. Bounce here, and then here. Good plan, good plan.
Ah, the Crimson Cat. One of my favorite underground clubs. Ooh, I spent some wild nights here. Which reminds me, I wonder if Stefan is still working the bar these days.
Oh, Bill, you.
This place has been around for quite some time. That well-dressed feline is Red, the official mascot.
Is it the 13th red or just red? Sorry, I had to.
Looks like a view of Claremont Street with St. Denis Cathedral in the background. Call me old-fashioned, but I've always felt the piano should be played by an actual human. These automated ones just don't have any soul.
Oh, beer tap.
Looks like they've got Bollingworth, Millhopper, and Brooklyn Lager. Not a bad set of beers.
Okay, looks like I got 2 people to talk. Nope, 1 person to talk to. Ah, that sucks.
Seagrave's Stasholine, high-quality mustache wax. You know, I always wondered what you'd look like with a mustache. Attention customers. Use of Dr. Tennyson's figure pills while under the influence of alcohol may cause loss of consciousness. It's nice to see this establishment looking out for its patrons. Good old Bollingworth Ale. Unlike so many other things in life, it never lets you down. Well, not while you're drinking it anyway. The next morning is another story entirely. Fine beer always served here. Good to know. Quite the selection. It rivals even the Angel.
Okay. Alright, well, let's talk to this gentleman here, the young man, and see where things go.
Excuse me, are you Roland Devereaux?
Who's asking?
Miles Fordham, private investigator. I wanted to ask you some questions.
Sure, whatever you say.
From the top.
Are you acquainted with a woman named Miriam Harris?
Sure. Acquainted. That's definitely a word you could use. But then, I'm also acquainted with about 20 other women in this borough alone.
Fascinating. Could you tell me about Miriam, please?
Sure. That woman could talk the ear off a cornstalk.
Oh? She said you didn't talk much.
That's right, I don't. She talks plenty for the both of us. Always going on about how sick she is of the phony high society types, how glad she is to be with someone real. But hey, she's loaded. And she's pretty good in bed, so it's a nice little thing we got going on.
Where's the punch button? Seriously, where's that cheat code to punch an NPC? I feel like I need that right now. Kidnapping.
Are you aware that Mrs. Harris's son was kidnapped last night?
What? Kidnapped?
Yes. Do you know anything about it?
No, not at all. I mean, I knew she had a son. She wouldn't shut up about him. Why would anyone take someone else's child voluntarily? Are people that desperate to have their own little brats?
Clearly he does not like children.
I assume you're not a fan of children?
Let's just put it this way. I would rather have a hot poker shoved up my ass repeatedly than ever have to deal with a child.
Well, that's quite specific.
There is no way in hell I'm going to tie myself down and give up this great life of mine. If this lady's kid's been stolen, she'll probably leave her husband and want a replacement brat. I'm not gonna be that sucker, that's for sure. Thanks, friend. You've really opened my eyes. I think the time has come to exit stage left from Mrs. Harris's life.
You're a real piece of work, Roland.
Yeah, I know.
So, cheat code? Cheat code for punching? Where's the cheat code for punching people? Developer, I need it. Is it Ctrl+P? Is it Shift P? Is it repeat P? Keep hitting P on the keyboard multiple times? What is it? I need to know. Please. Anywho.
So, I take it you're a musician?
A musician? Am I a musician? Man, you insult me. Ask anyone who hears me tickle those ivories. They'll all tell you. I'm doing the Lord's work. I am more than just a mere musician. I have a purpose on this earth, and that is to move people, to bring joy to their souls.
And this is after you've set the piano back to manual, right?
I don't expect a layman like yourself to understand, least of all a private eye. Your job is exploiting people's misery. I don't know how you can even look at yourself.
Oh, it's fairly easy. But then I expect you've never gone more than 5 minutes without looking at yourself. I think that's quite enough for now.
It's about time.
Okay, so clearly, no, he has nothing to do with the case at all. Like, nope. Nada. Okay. So. I guess. Oh, yeah, it disappeared. It poofettied out of existence. Okay, I'm guessing this may not lead me anywhere. I'm pretty confident it's finding where Linda is. We'll just go here anyways, just cause I don't know if this ending's gonna be the whole based on how long it takes you to solve it. We'll find out, but yeah, let's go to the lending office and talk to them.
Hello, sir. Welcome to LaFay Lenders. I'm the owner, Chester LaFay. Are you looking to take out a loan?
Not today, I'm afraid. I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator.
Look, I don't know what you've heard, but I run a clean business here. I don't need any trouble.
And I'm not here to cause any, for the moment.
Just keep your nose where it belongs. We should get along fine.
Okay, so let's look at everything and then talk to him.
Do you suppose LaFay turns the heat up to put some pressure on his clients?
Oh, absolutely, he would.
Must be soothing for LaFay to be able to look at this landscape while he sits at his desk. That's the latest model Computron. They don't come cheap. LaFay must be doing pretty well for himself. LaFay with a woman and a small girl. I wouldn't have taken him for a family man. He actually has a degree in business from the University of New Britannia? What a waste. A crew escaping a shipwreck on a violent sea. Not the most comforting painting to look at while waiting for a loan. I shudder to think how many people's financial freedoms are locked away in that cabinet.
Alright, so let's talk to him.
Mr. LaFay, I'd like to ask you some questions.
Fine, but keep it brief.
And once again, from the top.
Tell me what you know about Malcolm Harris.
Ah, Mr. Harris. Took out a loan about a month ago. Still hasn't paid me back. In fact, he sent along a letter yesterday saying he was having an emergency and needed more time. I probably should have refused to do business with him. As soon as he walked through the door, I could tell his type.
What type is that?
Upper class, bored with his life, trying to escape and doing it through vice. In his case, gambling.
This guy is good. Maybe you can pursue money lending if the whole private investigator thing doesn't work out.
But for some reason, I pitied him and decided to give him the loan anyway. Compassion isn't exactly an asset in this business, you see.
Nothing to worry about in your case, then.
Aside from that, I don't know anything about him. I prefer to keep how much I know about my clients to a minimum. Makes things easier for me.
Are you aware that Malcolm's son, Charles, was kidnapped last night?
I had no idea he even had a son. As I said, I don't ask my clients too many personal questions. Though now you've told me, I suppose that would explain the emergency he mentioned in his letter. Poor guy.
Exactly how much did Mr. Harris borrow from you?
Is that relevant to your investigation?
It would help to have an idea of exactly how much he owes you, yes.
I don't feel comfortable telling you the exact amount, but I will say it was over 500 crowns.
A considerable sum.
Like I said, I probably shouldn't have done it, but I'll get the money back one way or another.
What's your policy regarding people who don't pay their loans back?
There are a few options. For the first 3 months or so, I'll send them a letter reminding them. After that, I start to threaten them with legal action. You wouldn't believe some of the things people do to avoid paying back their loans. One client went so far as to fake his own death.
Do you ever employ any more unusual methods?
Now wait just a minute. I see where this is going. Mr. Fordham, I'm a family man myself. If you're implying that I would stoop to kidnapping someone's child as collateral,
I never said that, Mr. LeFay.
look, I have a family to consider. I'm not about to go get my hands dirty when there's plenty of legitimate ways to handle the situation.
Alright, now before I get further into this, I'm actually going to wrap the episode here because we're definitely past that good old 40-minute mark, so shameless plug time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Greatly appreciated. As usual, like, comment, subscribe, check out my other Let's Plays as well. Let me know what you think about this case so far. It definitely screams that we need to find Linda ASAP, but who knows? There may be a big twist coming up. And also check me out on Twitch. Give me a follow there. I am starting to get back into speedrunning with a speedrunning category added to it called Potato %. Basically, I stream till the child wakes up. Either it's 2 minutes in, or 2 hours, or 10 minutes, whenever he wants to wake up. But anywho, once again, thanks so much for watching. Greatly appreciated. Have a good morning, a good evening, a good night, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.